counting the smaller ones. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. What we have is more than what we've harvested. So your continuity is ensured. Harvested, so you are guaranteed continuity. So I can tell that this greenhouse will still continue to yield results continuously. But it's not easy achieving this because you can go to some farms, they have harvested and there's nothing. Hello everyone, welcome to the Eco Farms and Agro Services Company. It's always good to be with us. There's been a lot going on in the farm from the last time we had time to talk with us. I'd like to take this time to thank everyone who has been sending in comments, who has had time to visit the farm to see in practice what we've been doing. Farming, they say it's a job that you can never exhaust, so there's always a lot going on. It's also been a very rainy year. We've not had rain this much in a long time, and we've had to deal with a bit of floods in the farm, but overall just the challenge that comes with farming every time. So this is to also encourage us as farmers. It's always good to be prepared for any scenario. Today's video we're talking in consistency in greenhouse production. How are you able to be consistent? Because recall, in the business of farming, particularly in the protected cultivation, you want to be able to give your clients not just the quality they want, but importantly to be able to be consistent. Consistency essentially is you being able to continue to give them the quantity that they require as well as the quality. And so it's likely on your purpose boundary. What we have experienced with a lot of farmers we interact with is that they are able to grow their peppers or tomatoes or other crops. The moment they begin to harvest, they have a problem with consistency. In other words, they harvest and then there are no or very little crops left in the farm. And so we'll look into that. So essentially at the Eco Farms, we have a timeline for growing our crops in the greenhouse. A period of 2 to 3 months takes care of the process of nursery to production of the fruits. This means that you have 1 month in the nursery and about 2 months from the nursery stage to the vegetative point, and then importantly the point you begin to see your first crops begin to break color, which is where every farmer looks forward to. So at that moment when your crops break color, you are not managing your nutrient and essentially crop pulse boundary just to sustain the farm. You're also managing it to ensure that there's enough nutrient or essentially food for these crops to maintain the existing fruits and to also continue to produce more fruits. Let these fruits stay. The flowers are not withering nor they are budding, so that you can continue. Remember, your crops are indeterminate. So this means for their lifetime they'll continue to grow, and not just grow, they will continue to fruit. So where it's tricky is balancing nutrient management, balancing crop pulse boundary, which essentially is targeting harvest to manage the fruits, targeting pruning to ensure that the plant is not overloaded with fruits, because every farmer is greedy. You want to ensure that you have so many fruits, but you need to understand that when there is too much fruits, your existing fruits may have a challenge. Okay. Hello everyone, welcome to the Eco Farms and Agro Services Company. One of the greatest challenges we had as an early farm was that we were struggling with key good agronomic practice. Not what we haven't learned in schools, not what we haven't learned over the years, but that key areas we had to learn them afresh in the farm. It cost us a lot of money, it cost us a lot of time, it cost us a lot of staffs, and greatly it cost us a lot of opportunities. You don't have to go through that. At the Eco Farms and Agro Services Company, one of the things we're giving back to the society is to provide free and key good agronomic practices to anyone who is willing to learn for free. And so we encourage you to tune into our channel, to make comments where necessary, to share with other farmers who may need these informations so that we can all grow together. Thank you. Let's look at the 3 things recall. I talked about nutrient management, I talked about crop pulse boundary, which essentially is pruning, and then importantly your harvest management. So let's look at the first thing, which is the key thing, your nutrient schedules and nutrient management. For basic agriculture, the knowledge is understanding your N, your P's, your K, and importantly your micronutrients. when to manage them by knowing when is the right time to apply them. So if you've ever attended a training at the Eco Farms, we understand that the N, which is nitrogen, is key for vegetative growth. Your P is essential for the root and the stem, which is still development of the support structure for the crop. And then importantly, your K, very important for fruiting, for flower initiation. Essentially, they go to have flowers and fruits. And so if you understand how to stagger your nutrient management for N, P, and K, you should have very good crop cycles, healthy crops that have robust root development, robust stem that is firm to carry any weight of fruit. Of course, you have to support the stems with proper trays, and that's purpose boundary will come to them. But you should have very good root system, very good stem systems, very good vegetative growth that is able to feed the plant, and importantly where your interest is, the flowering stroke, your fruiting. And then your micronutrients is essential to ensure that your crops are receiving the key nutrients that are necessary to manage cellular level developments that are important in the form that they translate to ensuring that proper plant growth, proper preventions from infections, proper chemical processes that are beneficial to these plants' health is maintained. What mistake we've seen a lot of farmers making, and we share in it, is that they focus a lot on their N, P, and K, and they neglect their micronutrients. Or they focus so much on their nitrogen and they leave their P and their Ks out. And so you can tell a plant that is doing very well when it has a lot of vegetative growth. But vegetative growth should translate to proper fruiting, flowering and fruiting. In other words, you're not growing your plants in the greenhouse to harvest the leaves, nor are you growing them to harvest the stem. While the leaves and the stem are important, what you are growing them for is at the end of the day to harvest the fruits. So whatever nutrient management you are scheduling is not translating to proper flower initiation and importantly proper fruit retention, then you have a problem. So a good agronomist or farm manager must study his crops beyond conventional fruit management, fertigation management to ensure that leaves are not just overgrowing in the farm, but that fruits are being retained, and that they are not just retaining, that they are fruiting properly, consistently. And then the other things we need to also look at is the crop cost boundary. Crop cost boundary essentially is how you manage these crops. You need to know when to prune. You need to know where to prune. What are the right branches to allow? At the Eco Farms, we have two growing systems. When we want to overload our crops, we allow them to grow as much as 4 branches in a stem. And that's a lot of work, but it's something we are committed to do. And then minimally we maintain 2 to 3 branches, depending on the crop level. And so you do not schedule to grow 3 or 4 branches and then you neglect nutrient management. You must balance things knowing that these plants are going to carry a lot of fruits because each plant has 3 to 4 branches. And so you need to know when to prune so that there are no excessive branches that are depending on nutrients that should go to the fruits. You need to know what branches to manage. And then the final but key thing is looking at your harvesting schedule. Most farmers prefer to allow their crops, particularly peppers and tomatoes, to properly break color before the harvest. What I need you to understand is that the more fruits you have breaking colors, the more nutrients will be consumed. And such times are good times that you need to replenish nutrients that have been lost to breaking colors, to mature fruits that have been yet to harvest. So a farmer must strike a balance. He must know when to harvest, and what volume to harvest and what to leave so that there is consistency. I encourage you to send in questions for a complete set of crops that are consistent. You should have more crops on the tree, on the vine, on the fruit than the crops you are harvesting, so that for every week you come to harvest, there is a sustainability and continuity. I encourage you to take time to reach out to us with your concerns. These concerns could be challenges in your farm, or they could be a contribution you are making to the context that we're doing. Until you see again. Bye-bye.